just a note, the tipping standard in the US is 15 to 20%. So just write that. The tipping standard in the US, United States, is 15% to 20% of the total bill. And that's usually before sales tax. Okay, I specifically said in the US because from country to country it is different. So if you ever travel to another country, it's important to look it up beforehand so you know what's expected. You can generally always ask your server too what is expected, and they will give you an honest answer. So if you're ever in a restaurant and you can't figure it out or you're not sure what's appropriate, they're always available to answer questions. Like as a server, if somebody asks you what the appropriate tip is, it's actually nice that they asked instead of just assuming. So they're always available to answer too, or even to help you. Okay, so let's say scenario, you are at Applebee's. Your bill was $15.97. So obviously you probably wouldn't go to Applebee's by yourself, or maybe you would. But if you're at a restaurant, you can always ask the server to split the check. They can actually make it so you are just charged for the food you order. Let's say you order a drink and a meal. They can just separate it for you and print like separate checks. There's different ways to do it in the computer. They could take the total bill, let's say it's $60 total, and divide it by 4 evenly among the 4 friends, or they can separate it based on what you order, and it's actually really easy to do it in the computer. So if you're ever out with friends and you want to pay separate, you just ask your server or tell your server at the beginning, and they can ring it up like that separate. Or if you forget to tell them at the beginning, they can arrange it at the end too. It's actually really simple. Okay, so your bill is $15.97, and we're going to calculate different percentages of tips. We're going to start by doing like exact amounts. So let's say we want to leave 15%, and then we're going to total it out. Let's do 18% and total it out.
Do I just do it on a blank piece of paper?
Oh, here.
Thank you.
Yep. And 20% and total. Okay, so if you're trying to leave an exact like 15%, yes, you could use a calculator. And of course, if you're at a restaurant, you'd probably have your phone with you. You could do 15.97 times, to figure out what 15% is, you just do times 0.15, and you'd get this answer. Now, you don't want to put 2.3955 on the receipt because we're talking about money, so you would round this. So this one would round to 2.40. So $2.40. And then for the total, so here you're authorizing them to charge this amount to your credit or debit card. So you need to make sure that you add it correctly. So you line up the decimals and just add. We get 1837. Now, if you add this wrong, the server can only charge your credit card that amount. So if you add this wrong, you forget to borrow, and then you wrote 1737, you just cheated your server out of $1. Just FYI. Okay, and the next one, $15.97, 18%. So in the, what's that? Zoom in. Okay, so here I'm going to do 15.97 times 18%. So 15.97 times 0.18. We get this number. You would round that to 287. Then add it to this. Of course, just line up decimals. 1597 plus 287. And 20%, sorry, I zoomed in, but now I can't see it all. Okay, 15.97 times 0.2 for 20%, 3.19. $3.19. Again, line up your decimals.
Still using the calculator?
Yeah, I'm showing you like the long way first.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so if you wanted exact answers, that's how you do it with the calculator. Okay. So next we're going to start using some shortcuts. So when you look at this, 287, so you could really just leave $3. It's not that much different. Or over here, you could leave $3. It's not that much different. You could actually get even fancy with it and leave like $3.03. And then when you totaled it out, it'd just be a whole number, which is kind of an interesting way to do it. So we're going to start looking at different ways to total this out. So let's say you go to Brio with your friends. So at Brio, your bill was $34.92. The service was good, and we want to leave a 20% tip. And then total it out. Okay, so here's the shortcut. What we're going to do is if we take this 34.92 and you move the decimal over one place, that would be 10% of that. So 10% would be 3.49. And then 20% would just be double that. So you could either double it, but what you would really do in the real world is just round this to 350 and then times it by 2 and get $7. So an appropriate tip here would be $7. And then just add it. Or you could get kind of like fancy with it. Fancy schmancy. And you do all this, you find out 10% is about 3.49, which you round to 350. You times that by 2, you get $7, but you want it to total out at a whole number. So you could do $7.08, like the 8 cents would make a whole number. So you could do $7.08 as the tip, and then your total would then be $42, even. And if you get in a habit of doing this where it just totals out to a whole number, and you do that every time you go to a restaurant, then when you review your credit card statement or debit card statement at the end of the month to make sure there's no like fraud or anything, or more periodically if that's what you do, and you see something that's not a whole number, you'll be like, okay, that's not right because I always ended on a whole number. So these are like numbers how they normally look in the real world. But if you get in the habit of always doing a whole number, whether it's when you get gas or when you're at a restaurant, then when you're looking at your statement, you can kind of see when something's off. Just little life hacks. But again, it's up to you how you want to manage money, but these are little things that you can incorporate if you want to. So let's try one more example together before we go to the other side. P.F. Chang's. That was recommended in my last class. Let's say you go out with your family, it's $122.75. Let's do 20% and then a total. And then let's get fancy over here. Okay, so here, move the decimal over one spot, about $12.27. Maybe we'll round that to $12. $12 times 2 would be $24. So this would be an appropriate tip here. And then we add that 24 to this. 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 plus 2 is 4. You get $146.75. That'd be cool. Or we can get fancy with it. Notice if we add another 25 cents, it'll go up to the next whole number. So instead of $24, we'll leave $24.25. So, and if you needed to, you could do the math off to the side just to make sure you're correct. This is totally normal to do the math off to the side. If you work in a restaurant, you see people do this all the time. It's not lame or embarrassing. And we get $147 total. Okay, that's the gist. So now we're going to move to the other side, look at how to fill out the actual credit card receipts using this method. Okay, flipping it over. Got it? Okay. Oh, it's bleeding through the paper. That's cool. Oh yeah, just put it in the basket. Thank you. Okay, so here is the credit card receipts right here. When you're at a restaurant, they'll bring you like the bill, which will look like this, but it won't have the lines to write on. They'll bring you a bill without the lines first. Then you hand the server your credit card or debit card, and then they scan your card and then bring you back the one that you write on. So if you see one without the lines on it, it's because you have to pay first. Once you pay with your card, then they bring you back the one with the lines where you fill it out. So we're going to use that same method that I showed you. Move the decimal over one spot. You would get $1.23 or $1.24 for 10%. Then double that to get this, your tip. Then make sure your decimals are lined up, and you can add 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry a 1, 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 1482. Okay, but in the real world, let's not try to be too specific. We're going to round just to make our life easier. So for this next one, we have $102.61. If we move the decimal over once, we get $10.26. We'll just round to $10. For 10% would be $10. Well, let's double that to get $20. And then add these two together. So $122.61 is what you'd authorize them to charge on your credit card, and then you sign it. You put your signature here. Something that I make a habit of in my real life, again, you can implement this in yours, or if your parents have a better way of doing that's cool. Anytime I'm signing like a receipt, or if I'm signing at like Walmart, I always use kind of like an informal signature, like just my initials. First of all, it's faster. But I always just use my initials. That's like my informal signature, the one that my server has access to. Now, let's say I'm signing for like a mortgage or for my voting record or something like that. That's when I use a formal signature with like my whole name. And that's the one that I put on those kind of things. So by doing that, by keeping them separate, anything formal where somebody's like applying for a credit card in my name, my server won't have access to that signature. And that's just something I do that you might do too. So, yeah, okay. Next. Let's try the $57. So if you move the decimal over once, we get $5.70. I might just round to $6 and leave $12 and then add it up.
So is the tip guide down there not accurate?
There is a tip guide, and there's often tip guides on your receipts. Something with the tip guide, see how it says $11.40 here? A lot of times that tip guide is based on the total before the tax, which you could tip on the total before the tax. I guess it's up to you. So, but for this, it's just easier to look at the last number for the purpose of this assignment. But like I said, as you practice more and get more familiar with it, you can decide what you want to do.
I got you.
Okay, so go ahead and work down the page. Practice figuring it out. Make sure all your tips are logical. So take a minute, try to do it by yourself, and then we'll meet together in a second. So like for example, right here, $30.52. 10% would be about $3, so I might leave $6. Okay, so I went in and filled the rest with a good or logical answer. Yours might not be exactly what I put, but it should be something close. So for example, if I put $6 and you put 7, that is fine. Or if you put like $3.50 here, okay, that's logical. What wouldn't be logical is if for here I put $400. If you put $4,000, that would be bad. So make sure that all of your answers are logical. If you got fancy with it, good job. You're awesome. If you kept it simple, that's cool too. But of course, make sure it's all adding up correctly and all that. Okay, so if you're, any questions? You guys? Yeah, so do you have any questions? You got it? This one right here?
Yeah.
So how did I get the 10? So I put $10. What I did was said, okay, 48.67, move over the decimal one spot, would be about $4.86, which I rounded to $5. So about 10% is $5, and then 20% is just double that, $10. Okay, if your answers are logical and you added everything correctly, you can turn it in. If you're done with 8 Khan Academy for the week, you can get your phone and just chill. If you're not done with 8 Khan Academy, then get a laptop and work on your Khan Academy for the next 10 minutes. Yes, please, thank you.
Can I just copy yours or share my screen?
Yeah, one second. Let me